Hello and welcome to Coscast at C.A.P.E. What's up, everybody? I'm WhiteFangCosplay.
I'm StrictlyCosplay.
And I'm RiboseCosplay.
And I have a real name too. Can I say that too?
You can say that, yeah. No, I leave that up to you whether you want to say it or not. Yeah.
My name's Alex.
And I'm Dee.
I'm also William. So
hello.
Wow,
hello.
We did really good order there. That was good.
Fantastic.
We are on point. Why don't we, real quick, what cosplayers are we wearing today? Because we're in full cosplay for this episode.
Yeah, we are.
I'm Wizardmon. Wizardmon died for our sins.
Too soon.
No, I'm from Digimon Adventure 1. Also, Wizardmon makes an appearance in Digimon Frontier, which is 4th season. Good season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Genos from One Punch Man. Yeah.
So I got
Wizardmon's better.
I'm a cyborg. I forgot some of my stuff at home for this cosplay.
Classic.
So this is what you see.
or what you don't see. Because you don't see the sclerias that you're missing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. I know you're disappointed.
Shame.
My real eyes aren't that beautiful.
I am just doing some casual Kiroshima today.
Kiroshima?
Kiroshima from My Hero Academia.
You mean Kirishima?
Don't at me.
We cosplay people.
Wait, what's cosplay?
What is
this a cosplay?
You're gonna reference that every episode from now on.
Yes, I will.
We brought it up. Before we get too into it, I would like to mention that this episode of Coscast, as always, is brought to you by Hero Hair. The I forgot their tagline. 1 second here. The cosplay wigs for the serious adventure, and we're gonna talk more about them later. All right. So. Recently, we all finally went to Connecticon after talking about it for like 3 months.
We did.
But not you. What were you doing? Were you anywhere else? Or?
I was Connecticon. What was I doing? You know, I was in Martha's Vineyard on the beach, so
okay.
your poison here.
In cosplay?
No.
So you were actually okay in the heat.
At Colossal-Con, I'm sure it would have been called cosplay, but...
Yeah, well, yeah, we were dying of heat at Connecticon, but I want to say that it was probably one of my favorite ones that I've been to so far. Like, memory-wise, like that's one of the cons that I see as like one of my favorite thus far. That and AAC.
Yeah, it's like it's almost weird bringing up AAC now because it's like now it's just
I can't think about AAC the same way now because we're not going to be able to go back this year.
Yeah.
Never forget, people.
You still can go back.
I mean,
you still can, but like, who's gonna?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Okay, let me rephrase that. With Anime NYC, everybody that I know is going to that instead of AAC.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
We live with our mistakes, what we say here. So I have to.
I live with
them.
him, so yes.
It's true.
Same.
Third roommate, shout out from the audience.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, you were at Connecticon all weekend. I was unfortunately only there for the second half of Saturday and Sunday. But really, if anything, it's just gotten better since last year, which I thought was already really great in the first place. Yeah. So I think our main complaint from last year, which they didn't have this year, was the karaoke in the middle of the con.
I didn't mind it that much. I was actually kind of like, I wish I did karaoke because it would be a lot of fun. And I could just sing out to the crowd and my friends could be like, what? Is that him? And I could have been like, yeah, it's me.
Well, it was something about the karaoke. It was just the fact that it was in like where everybody was, and it was like legit so hard to hear because it was so loud. Like it echoed through the entire convention. It was a great singer. It was awesome. But sometimes you would have some slightly below
not great singers. Yeah.
And you'd have to try to ignore that while you're trying to talk to somebody. So that made it very interesting.
But I really like the layout for Connecticon, honestly, because it's such an open space and it's so easy to get around, basically, for the most part. Sometimes, like, they wouldn't allow you through certain doors, which I found kind of odd.
Yeah, they went down to one entrance this year.
Yeah, you had to go up the stairs to get inside, but after that, like, it was pretty easy to move around.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was great.
Because the advantage of that is that they didn't have any lines.
That's true.
It was
the only
super
line
easy
was
to get in
for
this con.
registration, basically, and I didn't have to worry about that because I did pre-reg. So, yeah.
They were really good about their pre-reg last year as well, so they continue to do that well. Now just kind of like, yeah, I guess the entrance is kind of annoying, but honestly, once you were there, like you said, once you were there, it's like, you can get right in. So it's like you complain as you walk up 2 flights of stairs, and that was that. You know?
Did you go to Connecticon last year?
I have never been to Connecticon.
Really?
Nope. Yeah.
From what you've heard, do you think you'd want to go?
I've heard so many mixed things, and I think it's just kind of what you're looking for in a con, which is why I've heard so many mixed things. I've heard people that have had the best con experience of their life there, and some people that have been like, I'm never going to go back. And I just think it's because it is like such a mixed bag, and there are so many different things, and I think it's big. I don't know.
It's medium-sized.
I'm never really in the country during Connecticon usually. This is the first year I have been, as well as this con. We're at C.A.P.E right now. So,
Hello.
I don't know if that was officially announced, but
It is now.
perfect. Yeah, I've just never really been around this season. So this is all like very new to me, and while Connecticon seems like a great time and I will go eventually, beach on Martha's Vineyard.
That's fair. I mean, like, why would you want to stick around during the summer if you can go somewhere else?
I mean, apparently Connecticon, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Connecticon's pretty far away from us. That's my holiday.
It was, what, 3.5 hours away
That's
from
not
us?
It would have been like an
it was 2 hours. No, wait. No, it was almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
I almost went for the day actually, because it was an hour drive from home.
Yeah, you were too far.
Yeah, not that far, and it was more just like my stress levels at the time were like, don't do this, don't. And then when one of my friends who really wanted to go backed off and was like, never mind. I was like, cool, bye, going to the beach. Like, I need to take me time because that's so important, especially during like the beginning of a busy con season where like I also have a con next weekend. I think maybe you guys do. I know other people do.
I've got 3 cons.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's really important to take care of yourself during that busy time too. And so for me, since I had like tentative plans for ConnectCon, that was my like, okay, step back, take some me time, like live your normal life, and then you can go back into con crunch mode and now suffer a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, and I'm already regretting my decision to do.
Oh no, Will, we already did your list of regrets.
No.
Wasn't that the previous podcast?
No, that was last time.
Yeah, we did all of our regrets, I think.
It was mostly Will's.
Yeah, mostly Will's.
I had a lot. I thought it was a better topic because I had so many, but apparently it was for me. So.
But yeah, you chose this life, okay? 4 cons in 1 month.
Yeah, no, Wednesday morning, like 5 a.m. I'm flying out for RTX, which I'm super excited. So I can't wait to talk about that next episode. And then right after that, we have Boston Comic Con, or otherwise known as Fan Expo Boston.
Hashtag not my fan expo. Or Boston Comic Con. I'm calling it Boston Comic Con. I don't care.
Always called Boston Comic Con.
Yeah, I'm still calling it.
It's our Fan
Always.
Expo.
And then Pop Cult Anime Con right after that, which is yeah.
There's
so
a
the nice
person
thing
back
about
there
that-
who likes it. Yeah.
Great song, a great convention.
I haven't been, but okay.
Oh, it was awesome.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, great. I'm excited now.
No, it was enjoyable. It was a pretty similar scale as C.A.P.E, but just anime themed. So I had a good time, and that'll be nice because that is a smaller one. So when I'm coming from literally 2 bigger cons back to back, that'll be really nice too. If I am going to con, going to a small con, I think that's really the only reason why I'm doing it. Oh, the struggles of drinking water in cosplay is wonderful.
It is. Perfect.
We're recording right now, right?
This is not edited. This is full take going in. Like,
Here we go.
This is what you get. Like, everybody will get to hear the same take that you guys are hearing right now. This is genuine.
My
stuff.
lasers are malfunctioning. How do you guys feel about Disco Genos?
I personally feel very pro.
Nice. All right, this is how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
This is it. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying how like I already feel like as I'm getting like last year when I was planning this, like this is a great idea. Like 4 cons, why not? In 1 month, like why not? And then now I'm getting closer. I'm just like, I have regrets.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Last year, you're like 4 cons. I think I can do that. Maybe not. And then this year,
No.
you're like, I can do that.
Yeah, I got a little overconfident. Granted, I almost did 4 cons last year in a row. I only did 3 because I decided to not go to Vermont Comic Con with electing to save my money to go to Coscon East. I would love to know how Vermont Comic Con is, but honestly, I thought it was a great decision to go to CosCon East instead, because that was legit one of the best cons of the year. So
what do you like about like big cons as opposed to small cons? Because it sounds like you're going to a couple of really big.
Oh, we're going to talk about that later.
Are we talking about that later?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. I don't know.
You literally just spoiled our topic. Yeah.
Oh, I thought everybody. Okay.
Can you add some like hashtags to this episode? Spoiler
Retract.
alerts?
It's the spoiler episode. Yeah. But yeah, so like what you're saying, you need to make sure you have some me time. Make sure you have time ready to prepare your cosplays. Another thing that I'm already expecting is that I'm going to have buttloads of cosplay repairs needing to happen, because that's what happens when you don't enough time between cons to do stuff, is like repairing the cosplays that you were planning on wearing after wearing them for more than one con in the same month. So
Yeah.
So like, real talk with the me time thing, like, this is also a PSA to myself, because this is my personal state today. Like, if you are going to be stressing too much about a cosplay and you are trying to fix it, remake it, whatever, if you're not going to be having fun at the con, don't do it. Don't do that to yourself. And I have dropped cosplays, despite, believe it or not, despite my normal stress levels, because they weren't like where I was wanting them to be, and they weren't like worth my time and stress. And if you're also like me and you're just like very tired, you run home after brunch and you slap some blue face paint on you, and you're not in a good mood, surround yourself with beautiful people that will help you out and make you feel better, because that's really what the con's about. It's not about like, you know, just showing up to see how many cons you can go to, or to like experience everything all at once, despite what I think it is about, because sometimes that is what it's about for me. But at the same time, like, I'm crunching right now for a con, and it's been like putting me in such a bad mood, and it's like I don't have any time to do things, and I'm still feeling like that, like no matter what. And I can't imagine how you're feeling before cons. I just have like this and then another one next weekend, and that's it. So like,
Yeah.
I am proud of you.
thank you.
And thank you, by the way, for calling us beautiful people. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I would hair flip if it wasn't in a ponytail, but
Yeah. I think the only reason why I think I could even do it is the fact that 2 of the 4 are like smaller cons. We got this one, which is a smaller scale one, and Pop Cult at the end.
We'll circle back to
But that being said, I also didn't take into account the fact that I'm flying to freaking Austin, Texas for one of these cons, so that's going to be a whole 7-day venture in itself.
What are you wearing there exactly?
Osmond and maybe last minute David, if I can somehow find time in the 2 days I have off between now and when I fly out. Yay!
Self-care.
Self-care. Yeah.
Take care of yourself, people.
Sleep is like last on the agenda right now. I'm not too proud of myself.
Don't make your coffees with energy drinks. I've never done this. I've considered it though. And if you've considered it, that's already really bad.
I can think of some people who would do that. I wouldn't do that.
You know who you are. Oh man. So yeah, Connecticon. I know a legitimate complaint that was said last year about Connecticon was that there was some problems with handicapped people accessing elevators that were obviously there for handicapped people. Because especially in this one where you had one entrance that was on and stairs, you need ways for handicapped people to get there. Does anyone know if they were better about that this year?
Yeah, they were a lot better. I know because I was a mermaid for one of the days, so I got to live the experience. The elevators were working, which is nice because the year prior they were temperamental. So,
And they didn't give you any crap about using the elevators?
no, the staff was really helpful because as soon as I rolled in, because I was on a cart, as soon as I rolled in, they were like, oh, right this way, you're using this elevator. So they anticipated me before I had to go to them to say, hey, how can I get up these stairs? The staff was really, really good, and this is coming from the parking lot.
Awesome. We have another person who has an opinion.
Although there was at one point, I forget if it was, I wasn't sure, it was Friday or Saturday evening, where one of the elevators, the outdoor elevators, was out of order for a while. And it was also one of the elevators that went to the parking garage, so people...
What, were they coming up with solutions, or was it just You're all
Yeah,
right.
find a different elevator.
Find a different elevator. Wonderful. All right. Well, at least the staff themselves were better about it. You know, there's only so much you can do about when an elevator breaks down. But that being said, like I heard of stories, at least, of people straight up being denied by staff that they couldn't use elevators. And to my knowledge, they were much better about this year. So kudos to them because that's a serious no-no. I'm glad that seems like it's rectified. I'm sorry if you're listening to this right now and that's not the case, but at least from our perspective, it seems like they've worked to actually resolve that. So, and you like the layout, I like the layout. Also, their panels was really good.
They were?
We went to the death match, which is a big thing for them because that's their main event. As always, they do a really good job with that. It was so funny. The announcer for the death match, two funny things happened about that. Apparently, he's never actually introduced himself. So like this was the first death match where everybody actually knew his name. I think it was like Mookie.
I don't remember.
I think it was Mookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a selfie with him. I'll post it on my Instagram at some point. But then also a really cute thing that happened was his wife was there and he didn't know that she was there. She was in like a cosplay of something and just like unannounced came up on the stage and he's the one knowing the plan. He had like no idea what's going on. And then all of a sudden she just takes off the cosplay and it's she's wearing a t-shirt that says I'm his wife, so the whole audience gets it, and everyone was just like oh, and he was just like bewildered. It was awesome. But the death match was really professionally run. It was really entertaining. The drunks yet again were very deciding upon the tiebreakers, which was hilarious.
For people who don't know, the drunks are people who are over 21 in a separate room who would scream very loudly to cheer on people in the room.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
In case that the
So good.
actual crowd that was in the room were basically doing a tie for the.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. So instead of dance off
Alcohol.
or rock paper scissors or whatever. Am I still saying that wrong?
Rock, paper, scissors is how you say it.
Okay,
Well,
so I actually said it right. I'm just calling myself an
How have
artist.
you been
Cool.
saying it?
how?
I've been saying it wrong all day.
But how?
Scissors, rock, paper. I don't know.
rolls
Just,
off your tongue. Rock,
I regret
paper,
asking.
scissors.
you're right, it does. And then I stumble off the tongue. That's how it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yikes,
So yeah.
Anyway.
But also what's cool is that Connecticon is the original con for the deathmatch. Like they're the ones that started it all in the first place because it came from the chess match.
Yeah.
I don't know what con started that, but someone's like, yo, I like the death part. I want more. But just the death part. I don't care about like the chess part. So they changed that and they made a separate event called the death match. And what's cool about Connecticon's death match is that mostly the death match is really popular at anime cons. Don't really see them at Comic-Con. So as far as I know, Connecticon is the only one that's not the only strictly anime deathmatch out there.
Well, also, Connecticon isn't strictly a Comic-Con per se. I feel like it's a mixed bag.
Well, no, that's the whole point of the con is that's literally everything.
Yeah.
All the fandoms.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, I guess we should actually say that. Yeah, Connecticon is a con for all
Connecticon is really
fandoms.
nice.
It's really cool. And yeah, you definitely see some unique cosplays at this convention. And that's
Yep.
always really awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I saw some unique cosplays.
Why do I feel like there's a bigger story here?
No, I'm just trying to think of them right now.
Okay.
There's
can't
one.
see, but I was gonna say I'm seeing some unique cosplays in the audience right now.
Hey.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's
Sorry,
a look.
camera, I can't see it.
Look, TM.
Charming.
I'm sure the audience appreciates that gag. The visual gag that totally is recorded.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what we're laughing at, but okay.
Isn't that the beauty
The
of
people who are
The fact that
watching.
your primary colors right now.
This is okay. The audience can see that. You are allowed to laugh at that.
Given. Yeah. So we had Connecticon. Did we have any other cons happening? Oh, we already talked about PorCon because that was just after, I was like just before we recorded our ones. And you haven't gone to any cons in the past month, so.
Next weekend.
Hey, what are you going to next weekend? Please do tell.
Taco-thon, which is
Which is not otaku. Otakon?
It's not Otakon.
Okay.
I know, it's just added one little extra letter.
Makes all the
it's
difference.
actually
The difference of a country, mind you.
It's actually one of the only bilingual conventions.
Really?
And half the panels are in French, half of them are in English. And I went a couple years ago and I had the most beautiful moment of watching nerds unite in 2 different languages. Because I went to the masquerade for a little bit, and you know how there's always like, if you've been to any masquerades before, there usually is some like pre-stuff, or someone comes out and talks for a little bit. But they had stuff on screen. They had like anime trivia. We killed it. And then they had the Pokemon theme song come on, and that's hype. And so we started singing it, and it's first in English, and then after the first verse, it switched to French. And it kept switching back between French and English and French and English, and I was just watching like all these fans sing in these two different languages in like perfect harmony, and it was the most beautiful thing I think I've ever experienced at a convention. It was just people who couldn't necessarily like share the same conversation or language unite over the Pokemon theme song, because that's a mood. And I mean, I was there, I did that too.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really was. And also, there's Tim Hortons. So if anyone's from around that area and is a Tim Hortons devotee,
That's awesome.
so excited to go back.
Yeah, I like literally anybody who's gone to that con. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and one day I would love to go.
There's one.
You going?
Yeah,
I went last year.
yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
Can confirm it was good. Confirm my audience. Yay. But yeah, so that's on the. Anything else for this upcoming month specifically, or just that?
Just that.
Just that.
Just that.
No, that'd be cool. I can't wait. I seriously can't wait for you to tell us all about it
Yeah.
on the next episode. So, because I'm low-key planning on doing that for 2019. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see if I try to not do 5 cons in a row.
5 cons.
I'm not, but I
Wait,
swear.
five?
If this is me looking.
Are you doing 5 or 4?
No,
If you had to
like
talk
next
about
year.
it's 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't do that. No.
No, because I'll be like, I'm not gonna do it again next year. Look at all these cons.
Is this a good idea? Yeah. I'm going to Boston Comic Con and Pop Cult. So I'm taking it pretty easy. I know. Oh, somebody's excited to see me at Pop Cult. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Again, I haven't made anything in a while, cosplay wise, but it's gonna be nice to like go back to Boston Comic Con, because that's basically where it all started out for me. So it's pretty nice. And also I get to cosplay Ruby with a friend, and Jessica Negri's gonna be there, and we're gonna look awesome.
Highly recommend talking to her, by the way. I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about her, whether they be good or bad or indifferent. But honestly, I'd love for you to have an opinion about her after you talk to her, because she's a lovely human being. And once you talk to her, you get to see just what a complete and utter dork she is, because she is, and she's awesome.
She's great.
And
She's such a dork.
She loves her fans like dearly, and it's at least, if anything, just awesome to see how much she cares about her fans and what she is willing to do for them. I have numerous of personal friends accounts of stuff that she's done for them personally. That's amazing. Yeah, a lot of respect for her. So regardless of what you think about her cosplays and what she does, I really think that it's worth chatting with her and just seeing what, how she is as a person, more than just her content, so. Yeah.
What you said. Yeah.
Ditto. Cool.
Yeah.
Wait, was
I mean-
Boston Comic Con actually your first con?
That was my
Yeah,
first
it
con.
was both of our first cons.
I know
4
you
years
did free
ago.
comic book day, and that was the first time you cosplayed.
Yes, correct.
So I think when we all had similar experiences, where my first was Anime Boston. So like it's a big con. It's like stars in your eyes immediately. You're like, whoa.
Well, first time I went, I didn't even cosplay. That was 4 years ago. And I went and I was like, I didn't even know that they had cons in this area, because I only knew of like San Diego Comic Con. And I heard there was Boston Comic Con. I'm like, what? That's a thing? And then I went there, and I was like, right when I went through the door, I saw Akira Toyonosuno cosplayer, and I actually was
You
watching
fainted right there on the spot.
Basically, I didn't know that people. I didn't know other people watched that show, so I was like, "This is amazing! I need the pictures. This is amazing."
Pull out the
Sweet child.
Yeah, I was so innocent. I like Sword Art Online. I like this. Yeah, it's weird looking back, because that was 4 years ago, and then 3 years ago I didn't even go, and then 2 years ago is when I went back, and that's when I actually cosplayed, and I was like, what? People like my
The audience
cosplay?
just stabbed.
Thank you.
How old were you when as?
What?
How old were you when as?
I went as Deathstroke from DC Comics, and it was absolutely incredible because,
Really scary.
sure, okay. I didn't feel very scary, maybe a little
You
bit.
towered above everybody.
People loved me, okay?
Like your death face mask on, but then you opened your mouth and it was like, oh.
Is she done?
Alex is being called out.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. So basically, that was incredible because so many people responded to me, and I was like blown away because I wasn't used to cosplaying at all. So I'm just like, hi, how's it going? People know who I am. This is great.
Also, just being overwhelmed by the convention in general, just being like, this is huge. Because, especially Boston Comic Con has a huge vendor hall. Quick question, Deed. When you first went to Anime Boston, was it still in the Hines?
Yeah.
It was, okay. Because a bummer for us is that the Boston Comic Con we know no longer exists, more than so than just the name change by the fact it was in a different convention center. So when we come back, it doesn't feel like that same con that we went to at first. So like, good for them for moving to a bigger convention. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have moved, because hopefully it's going to bode for very, very great conventions in the future as it's much bigger than their first one. However, it is a little bit sad to not have that same nostalgia of like returning to that con, as it were.
It does make me sad sometimes.
You look sad.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm looking out for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, if anyone looks sad, really it should be you because you're all blue.
Wow.
Okay, it's really.
No, come back. I'm not with him.
Yeah. So, and then I think we've talked about Boston Comic Con a good amount, and what we want to see from that because our general consensus is they just need to use the space better, but they get a pass because it was their first year there. So we'll see what happens this year, but there's hopefully a lot to work on from last year. So.
I'm just going for the most part to have a good time. Like I'm still trying to figure out what I want to build next, and also it's the summer, so it's really difficult to build foam cosplays in the heat.
Yeah, true. But then also, before we move on, we also have Pop Cult, which we haven't.
Which I don't know anything about.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I know that somebody likes it back there, and another person is excited to see me. So thank
audience
you.
Member. But yeah, no, I went last year. It was their second year. This year will be their third year, and it's. I know a good amount of the people who run the convention, and they're very great people, and they definitely have some amazing intentions for this con. And I want nothing for more than them to succeed because they've got a great heart to this, and it is very small. Not gonna lie. But they are doing everything they can to, make sure that they are growing at an appropriate pace. A lot of cons try to just go really quick. Like as soon as they have a first successful con, whatever they label that as being successful, they just run with it and go for the biggest venue and advertise the crap out of it and try to get millions of attendees. And unbeknownst to them, they have no idea what they're in for and just causing the con to collapse. We've seen a bunch of that with anime cons in New York City, and that's why people are praising Anime NYC so much because they're finally doing something right compared to like the 3 or 4 anime conventions that's failed year after year in New York City. So really, if anything, I am not impatient about them being a small con. In fact, if anything, I want to support them because it's got a great heart and I want to see it succeed. And I definitely look forward to seeing what they're doing this year. So
I'm excited to go.
Yeah, it's in this. It's in Framingham, Mass. If you're listening, wondering where this is, and it's in this like hotel that's like a castle. It's really wild, and you can get some good pictures there too. They've got a lot of brick inside too, so if you got something like say Harry Potter, you could probably get some good pictures for Harry Potter there if you're doing a Harry Potter cosplay.
I would like to do Harry Potter cosplay.
Just do it. Will said so.
Do it.
Let's do it. That's all cosplay from Harry Potter, guys.
That's what you guys know.
I'm gonna be a Weasley, just saying. Yeah. Probably Fred or George. We'll see.
What's the difference?
Whoa.
An ear, probably.
Oh, too soon.
It's been 7 years.
Yikes. Yikes.
I mean, if it was too soon for a Wizardmon joke, then it's definitely too soon for a Weasley joke,
Not wrong.
So yeah, so we have a lot of cons coming up, and it's gonna be interesting to see how we
You have more cons. But yes, I have.
Let's just always
So
circle
it's just
back
like-
to that.
I
when
have
it
2
comes-
whole cons coming up.
I have one whole con coming up.
All right, have a high five. There you go. Fantastic.
No, I know. No, I know. It's okay. Can I get a high 4 for the 4 cons that I'm going to?
No.
No.
Hi, 4 people in Texas.
It'll be interesting to see how we do this next episode though, because we have so many cons to talk about in our con wrap up. So we'll see how that goes. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, I'd like to talk about our sponsor for a few moments, being Hero Hair. And Hero Hair creates screen-accurate, feature film-grade lace-front custom cosplay wigs and facial hair directly from the cosplayer's inspired imagination in any genre, movies, television, comics, and even original concepts. To complete the cosplayer's transformative illusion, Hero Hair wigs are the state-of-the-art, the absolute highest level of quality that is physically possible using the most advanced cutting-edge design applications, methodologies, and materials currently at the vanguard of professional custom wig cosplay industry. These entertainment professionals bring with them a combined total of more than 100 years of experience in crafting one of the most complex and often misunderstood aspects of cosplay itself, the wig and the literal figurative crown of cosplay. And if you want to see examples of their clients and the work that Hero Hair does, you can check out their hashtag on any of the socials on Crown Your Cosplay. And we always like talking about a featured client of them to, just their story and how, what their experience with Hero Hair is. But we have a treat for you, being that we have someone in person. So I'm going to invite Mink the Satyr up right now to talk about herself and her experience with Hero Hair.
Should I move?
Sorry, I'm taking your spot. I'm not actually sorry.
Oh, I'm not either.
Clever ruse. Never be sorry. That's my secret cap.
Is that how you do
I'm
it?
never sorry. What's that? Yeah.
Never be sorry.
Never be sorry. So it's actually the new hashtag. Hashtag never be sorry.
From
So on that note, hi everyone, I'm Mink. It's really awesome to be here. Thank you for having me. For those of you who don't know who I am your premier Pokemon cosplayer, but I know, I'm on a quest to cosplay all of them, all 151, because
Yes.
I know at the time of recording there's like 809, and I'm not that extra. But when I'm not cosplaying Pokemon, I do a lot of live action roleplay, which has inspired a lot of the way that I come about my costuming. So when I get the opportunity to, I prefer to try to make my costumes as authentic as possible. So for those of you who are listening, I'm really sorry, you're gonna have to use your imagination. For those of you who are watching, hey, I'm dressed up as Aloy from the video game Horizon Zero Dawn. Sorry for you people who don't have PlayStation 4, definitely recommend. And I'm basically covered in animals today. Anything that the character would wear in leather or linen or silk or any kind of natural fiber, that's what I hunted for. Oh my god, I hunted for it. I'm really sorry. I didn't actually hunt for it, but I did know the guy who raised the rabbits that I'm wearing.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's really metal. Yeah, it's really hardcore. Okay.
The bunnies?
Yeah, dude, it's real soft. You want a pet?
It was alive once.
Anyway, I know, how do you recover from that? So basically my whole thought process is I'm gonna work hard, really work hard making this costume. And back in New York Comic Con 2016, if I'm not mistaken, I went to a panel on wigs that was actually brought to you by Hero Hair. And they said something that resonated with me. And to this day, I'm still like, yep, this was the moment. They said in their panel, you work so hard on your costume. You spend so much money, you deal so much time goes into this, and then you get a $35 wig. And I kind of, that sat with me, and I was like, oh, you're not wrong now. That's totally what it was. So when of course, we got the game and started playing the game, and it was a fantastic game, I knew I had to cosplay as Aloy. But she got some hair on her. There's some braids. She has an ombre.
Yeah.
Which, for those who don't know,
What is
when
that?
one color shifts into another color, also known as a gradient. Ombre is just like the fashion word for gradient.
This is now an English language podcast. You're welcome.
Cool.
So with all of that in mind, I was like, this is the opportunity. This is where I can push it and do something even cooler. So at the top of the summer, so it was almost a year ago today, I contacted them and I was like, hello, my name's Mink. I would like to give you all of my money. And they were great about it too. They had the consultation meeting. They're like, this is custom stuff. It is going to be pricey. I was like, I don't think you understand what I said. I said, please let me give you all of my money. If it's not too much trouble. I've already wired it to you, just if you could. But they've been fantastic. I actually, I knew, because they told me going in, that they were going to have this period of time where they would do wig maintenance, which is usually something I do at home. So they got in touch with me. My hero hair person is this wonderful woman named Erin. I love her to death. She's like instant best friend quality. She just messaged me back in the spring and was like, hey, is there a period of time where you're not wearing this cosplay that we could take the wig back and kind of work it and make it, update it, fix it up for you? And I was like, yeah, it's summer. It'd be nuts to wear this in the summer. Spoilers, I'm wearing this in the summer. It is nuts. She was not wrong, or I was not wrong. So I just got this wig back on Thursday because she knew I needed it for this event. Yeah, she was spectacular. It's silly to say, but it fits me better and fits the character more because they don't half-step it. They were analyzing pictures that I sent them, pictures I posted on my Instagram or my Facebook. They were looking at those pictures and being like, okay, that's good, but how can we improve it? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm so happy, yay, pictures. So I've been just absolutely like, I am a satisfied customer. I am satisfied with my patient care. No, seriously, over the moon. Fantastic people through and through. I love Aaron and Travis. I haven't gotten to know the other folks as well, but everyone there is super talented, and their storefront is just amazing.
Yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. Like it looks practically seamless. Like it looks real.
Yeah, the best compliment I could get from people is like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were really a redhead." I was like, "Oh."
Okay.
Surprise! I know, it's just like,
Stop
I know,
it, please.
it's like, I want to be like a white snake music video right now. Is that dating me? White snake? Yeah, just a little bit.
I'm sorry for anyone
Come on.
listening to this.
Guys, just be cultured.
It's something amazing.
Go watch a white snake video. You'll get the reference. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I also want to, so normally this is where we go into our cosplay tip portion, but it just so happens that Mink the Satyr here is also a very talented sewer.
Oh, do go on.
Very,
Amazing.
very,
Perfection.
very, is that on the fairies?
No, two more.
Of a very, very talented
Thank you
sewer. Okay. She will be providing a sewing tip for us. So take it away once again.
Yes. Haha, he's giving me the microphone. Now I have you at rapt attention.
Wait, we like to call you Will because you both have red hair kind of right now, so I feel like this could be a
I made this joke earlier, but
I'll just walk off now. Just take it away, all right?
where there's a will,
Actually,
there's a way. I'm
I
your
like
new Will
this.
today.
This is good. Upgrade.
Yes! Woo! I'm really
She's
excited.
admittedly very pretty.
Is he back?
All right, anyway, actual cosplay tip. So, I have been all up on the pleating recently. Yeah, there's a bunch of different kinds of pleats. Pleats are basically that thing you put in a skirt to make it look animu.
Animals and mangos.
Oh yeah, so yes. A lot of people use box pleat for like the traditional Sailor Moon skirt, but more recent anime has been favoring the knife pleat. It's real pain in the butt to make these pleats because you have to use a lot of math.
It's so much math.
And you have to be consistent because if you're not consistent, you'll know. So I'm here today to tell you that when you're about to do a knife pleat, think fork.
It's the fork trick.
It's the
I
fork
love
trick.
the fork
I'm
trick.
bringing
The
it
fork
out.
trick's
So
good.
if you're unfamiliar with the fork trick, I'm gonna blow your brains. Ready? So you take a fork. You insert the fork. I know, but brains already blown. You insert the fork onto your fabric while it's in the sewing machine, as if you were twirling pasta. So in an ideal situation, you have a 4-pronged fork. Get out of here, 2 prongs or 3 prongs. You're not welcome here. I'm sorry. I know it's a lot of hate for those pronged forks. Anyway, you slip it so that the middle 2 prongs are underneath the fabric and you can't see them anymore. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna twirl that pasta a half turn. So your fork that was upright is now upside down right. And you're gonna quietly slide that fork out and you're gonna sew that seam up. And then you're gonna insert your fork again in the same configuration. And you're gonna do that nice little spaghetti twirl. And you're going to remove the fork and stitch again. And you're gonna keep doing this because as it happens, your fork prongs are very, very evenly spaced. And so if you keep doing this, you're gonna get an evenly spaced, very quick knife pleat without having to sit there and do math or pin, both of which are the devil.
Don't do math.
I'm telling you, as
My
a
life
teacher,
model right there.
as a teacher, don't do math.
As someone that does math every day, don't do math.
Not even once.
Not even once.
Or you could be, I mean, like, you could be like me, where the first time I sewed a pleated skirt, I was so excited. I got like really nice box pleats, and then I went and looked at my reference picture again, and they were knife pleats.
Oh,
and I just
no.
like sat on my floor for like a couple hours, and my parents walked by. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay."
We all have those dark moments where we've made an egregious error that will take hours to undo just to get yourself back to the beginning, and you just have to sit there in a dark corner, like Blair Witch Project style, until you're ready to move on. Try again.
Nice.
Sometimes you just need a moment.
Or a couple.
Or a couple of hours.
I'm gonna need to Jesus this. I'll see you in 3 days.
So many moments.
I can appreciate that.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for letting me, come into your show for like, 2.2
Thank
seconds.
you.
Will.
Please stay.
You do a great
Yeah.
job.
I am new Will.
Better Will.
This is my new home.
We greet you and respect you.
Those of you who are
Oh,
watching
very
Will
good.
standing very
I have
awkwardly
earned your
behind.
respect, something old Will was never able to do. Yes. Well, with great power comes great responsibility, and I am taking the responsibility to remove myself now before I am never able to remove myself again. Thank you so much,
you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you so much. Can't clap.
And now the views go down.
Oh, hey, Mick, what's good?
Great. Yeah, check out my wonderful hero hair. No, it's not hero hair. Wait. I wish it was hero hair. But yeah. So now I think, okay, guys, hang tight. I think I got a name for our previously
Yeah, wait.
topical segment.
What do I hold on to?
What about?
I'm gonna hold on to your
Okay, I was
chair.
like, what do you mean?
What are you saying?
I've got a name for this segment that we've been spacing out
Oh,
for.
you've got a name
Yeah.
for us?
No, not for
Wait,
you.
I have a
for
really
the
good
segment.
topic idea. Can I just pitch that first, or is yours more better?
Is yours better?
No. You're missing. You're skipping to the end. We've got one more thing,
Oh.
which has previously just been the topical thing. But I
just
figured
kidding.
it should be in the news of cosplay.
But that's not a pun.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But
We'll workshop
We'll
the pun.
we'll figure that out later.
But currently in the news of cosplay,
Yeah.
so just this previously known as topical bit. We were just mentioning Anime NYC, and something came up recently that the creators of New York City Comic Con and the creators of is it Anime Expo? Anime Expo are creating a anime con to be in New York City in October.
When's the due date?
When's the due date? I don't know.
This is our new
When is
anime
it due?
child.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting.
How far
So-
along is it? I'll just stop.
I'm losing the segment. But yeah, so we finally just got Anime NYC. Everybody agrees on great anime con. Congratulations, New York City. You finally have a worthwhile anime con to go to that everybody loves. New York City is like, hold my beer. I want all the cons. We want the anime con too. So very interesting enough, they're trying to compete with this just a month before Anime NYC, while also having their convention. Not like, isn't it? When's New York City Comic Con? Isn't it like also like beginning of October or late September?
I think it's like the same weekend.
Same weekend?
Sounds like someone who's going.
Part of the
Sounds like someone
Part of the
might have a
convention.
conflict,
Oh,
but still has 2 Friday through Sunday passes.
that's rough, buddy.
That's why you're Will.
If it's part of the convention, then that's kind of bad. I don't know, because then they're still expanding to 2 genres, making it 2 separate cons, which actually just makes it kind of confusing. But either way, they're trying to take, they're trying to intimidate Anime NYC, and I was very interested to see how Anime NYC's company would respond, and we did. I wish I had like the exact tweet. No, it wasn't a tweet; it was a letter. That's why I didn't pull it up because it would take a long time to read. But basically, they were being very respectful, and they had no hard feelings about what New York Comic Con has done to seemingly purposely try to take the rug out from under them.
In the water.
Yeah, and they said that our focus is not on them, our focus is on the fans and making sure that we bring a worthwhile convention first and foremost. And this doesn't change anything for us, and we will continue to bring the best con experience we can and everything that we've done before and continue to make it better. Just a very respectful response, and it made me love Anime NYC even that much more, seeing that they've got some really straight heads in charge there. And it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out this fall. But yeah,
I really love it when cons like actually care about the fans and want to make it a better experience for them as opposed to just being a cash grab for the most part.
yeah. And I don't want to throw shade at NYC Comic Con, but like I kind of am.
I mean, I don't know any of the other cons because I don't go to New York, but
I don't see myself going there anytime soon just because it's like the biggest con in New England. Well, not New England because it's New York, in the Northeast. And it's intimidating, and tickets are really hard to get. It's a complicated process to get tickets. You can't get weekend tickets. You can only get tickets per day. It's also really expensive, especially in New York City, which is already expensive. So
in a weird way, I actually really appreciated what they did with tickets last year, and they have opened it up a lot more this year. Where they did open it up past fan verification recently, which is very nice. But I do appreciate something because, like, I know in past experiences trying to get PAX tickets and then learning they've all been bought up by bots, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I could code a bot that, no, I can't actually. But something like that where I appreciated, like, hey, if you really want to go, we want to make sure you still get to go. And, like, yes, it's annoying if you didn't know about that, and yes, it sucks. But I did get passes. We've talked about it almost every episode I've been on here. How I went to New York Comic Con and I didn't cosplay. It was a great experience because I found a lot of people just don't cosplay. Like, they take it for the nerdiness, and I didn't know half the people, but like, you want to go meet the man that drew Spider-Man comic episode, or like volume 63? Like, yeah, he's right there. And it's oddly specific like that. Like, I didn't know all these comics had like 70 different artists. I have a signed poster on my wall from the guy that animated He-Man. I love He-Man. That was awesome. But it's just like, everyone's there to nerd out about something, and they're not there for cosplay or necessarily for merchandise. They're there to meet industry and like geek out with industry. So it's like a very different vibe than I think Anime NYC is going for. So I hope that's how they can find this respect as well. They're both big cons where I think they're gonna have a lot of overlap in community. I do think like the people that are going to New York Comic Con are more in it for comics than for the convention experience. That like, we're here doing a panel in cosplay. Like, that's not New York Comic Con. You know, if you're gonna be in cosplay, you're probably competing. Because it's really hard to walk around the floor that big in cosplay. That's like, that's more than something closer. Just like, I cannot walk around Wizardmon without like fearing people stepping on my cape at New York Comic Con. Little things like that. So I think it does depend. I'm not going back this year. I have a friend that's going. She's wicked excited. But it's more timing for me why I'm not going back than experience.
Yeah. I think, that brings up a good point. And I don't want to say don't go to a New York Comic Con, but it's just like, it's not for me. Because I feel like
you won't see anime there. Like, there's not much anime.
It's not much anime.
There's like a little, but not much.
And for me, it's more the fact that I mostly enjoy cosplaying conventions. Like, I want to have opportunities to cosplay, and if it's like just not a good cosplay con, it's going to take out a lot for me. Then also like having like friends is important. I feel like that'd be extremely stressful. You know,
some people don't care about
being
friends.
with friends.
For not
having friends is just as important, but also being with friends at cons is also very enjoyable and usually makes up for any bad experiences that the con may provide. And I feel like it'd be very difficult to utilize that with this
Interestingly
convention.
enough, the friend I went to New York Comic Con with does not cosplay. So I went with a non-cosplay.
You have
I know.
friend outside of cosplay?
What? I have friends that don't cosplay. That's a lie. We did a Ember Island Players group, and he painted a big thing to be the Blue Spirit. He wore a black morph suit. It was great. I was just like, hey, you like nerdy things? You like board games? You like comics? Do you want to go? And he's like, absolutely. And so that also like helped me feel like I didn't have to cosplay. Like, I did my makeup and wore a Star Wars skirt. It was great. And someone said, are you cosplaying a Star Wars? And I'm like, yes, I am cosplaying the entire Star Wars franchise.
You're welcome.
That's no good.
You're like, did you see that cosplayer who just cosplayed the Javits Convention Center?
Yes, I love it.
So good.
See, at this point, I feel like I can't go to a con and not wear a cosplay.
It gets weird.
Yeah.
I feel very exposed and
But
like underdressed.
it's also so nice.
It is nice.
This is the self-care thing. We're circling back around. I was really, really stressed, and it was like literally midnight the night before NYCC. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't. And I just woke up and put on makeup and left. Best decision I've ever made at a convention in my entire life, because I don't want to like drive to New York City, deal with New York traffic, get to a convention, stay there all day, and just be grumpy because I'm not happy with my cosplay because I'm tired because I stayed up all night making something. Like, that's not fun. And so instead, put on your Star Wars skirt and have someone think you're cosplaying the entire Star Wars franchise.
All right. Yeah.
Do you want my Star Wars skirt?
Yeah, I'll go get one.
Okay, cool. Well, no, I can give you mine. I think we're about the
awesome.
same size.
Oh,
Okay, wait. Okay.
more details on that later.
So we'll talk about it later after the podcast.
No, this is
Check the
podcast.
website.
I love that.
People want to see me in a Star Wars skirt.
I would agree. Most people would say yes. Maybe I read that wrong. Okay. So one time I actually, okay, now I'm getting.
Let's do a poll
I was
now.
like, man, the one time I'm audience, I think I'm. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Definitely a lot of interesting stuff that can happen. I'm also just very interested in general to see how Anime NYC progresses on their second year, because usually I feel like that's when you see the most progressions when a con goes from a first to second, because they have a lot to learn from their first go on their debut, and so the second is the year where they get to make the most amount of changes that he'll probably see in his lifetime. So interesting stuff for sure. And with that, we'll move on to our last segment, being our previously spoiled.
My bad. Sorry,
big cons
everyone.
versus small cons, and I chose this for this con because I felt like it was an appropriate topic as we are at a small con.
Small.
Hey!
Small baby.
But that's not bad. And let's talk about why that's not bad.
Wait, the whole audience is shocked. This is a
They're
small
shook.
con.
Everybody's like,
Where am I?
what have we done? The whole audience.
The end of the world as we know it.
Okay, we're all
All right, all right, all right.
Good
We know the
Today's
song
Bunny Trail
about the
brought to you by the audience. But yeah, so for me, like I actually was kind of hinting at all alone, I love hanging out with friends while cosplay, especially doing like cosplay groups. Cosplay groups are a lot of fun. Now they can also be stressful, but like once you practice like what kind of group that you're looking for, at what quantity, and stuff that you want to do as a group, because usually when you do groups, you tend to plan more stuff, so you also have to meter that. But that'll be all said. There's a lot more stuff you can do with friends at smaller cons than big cons. Where big cons, it's first off, right off the bat, harder to find people. Obviously.
Where are you? I'm at this panel. Which panel? You know the panel upstairs? It's in one of those rooms, I don't know, like B something.
Yeah, like
exactly.
51B. It's like I'm at 21L. What are you talking about?
That was me at Connecticon, actually. I'm just like, where is everyone? Oh, over here. Great.
Eating food.
Tell me how to get there.
Yeah, eating. Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, especially like PAX. PAX has a ton of panel rooms, and trying to figure out where to
It's
go.
packed.
Yeah, it's PAX. Did you just make a pun?
No, actually, I didn't use the word, so good.
You didn't use the word pun, is that?
I didn't use the word PAX. I said
packed
packed.
right after. I just
also
want to
did.
put that on.
Okay, she made a pun.
But we can both.
Good for puns versus bad puns. Next episode.
Which is when we're
No.
going to have that other section renamed to be a pun.
I have an answer for that. There are no good puns.
Oof.
They're good puns.
There are. I'm lying.
Thank you, audience, for not.
You got all
I heard a
sides.
shocked.
All puns are bad. All puns are good.
Not all, I said
and-
they're good.
Yeah, I said no. And then there's you, who's in the middle there. So yeah. Back on topic. What is Alex? What is your favorite things about smaller cons versus bigger cons?
I just say that it's really easy to just find your friends for the most part. Like you can, you turn a corner and you find another friend, and another one, and another one, and you're not always searching for someone to hang out with because they're all around you basically. Like they don't have anywhere else to go. It's such a small con. So just turn a corner, you can find a friend, and also you just don't feel the stress. And also, I feel honestly, with smaller cons, I feel like that is more fan base as opposed to big cons, because big cons are usually like extravagant, and a lot of the time it's more mainstream and regular people, like people who don't cosplay or people who don't usually go to cons. Like they are the ones that go to bigger cons. Smaller cons, I feel like those ones are usually more fan based. Usually like
you're going because you also know someone. Usually, it's like someone told me Popcoat was good, so I'm gonna go to a Popcoat now. Like
Yeah, because like you and I, we went to Connecticon for the first time, and it was just you and me for the most part. But it was
hard to fill a weekend when you're just
we're just going to a smaller con. Yeah, but when you actually have friends like at a con, then it makes the weekend absolutely incredible. That was the biggest thing for me at AAC was that I got to see so many of my friends hang out every single day, and we just have an amazing time, and it wasn't incredibly stressful because we were all so close to each other. We could go outside and take a breather. It was like a great place to be. And I get a little claustrophobic sometimes, so bigger cons can be pretty tough, honestly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who have like claustrophobia and like anxiety issues especially, who like that kind of stuff is just a lot, and if you can't have an easy area to retreat to, it's not a good feeling. So,
and also like if you make a brand new cosplay and when you debut it at a con, like you want it to be safe for a certain amount of time, and if you go to a big con, it won't be
pretty quick.
Yeah, it will get pretty messed up probably.
Yeah, the floor of Katsucon.
Yeah. I wore my superhero outfit for Ida at AAC for the first time, and it was awesome because I could move around and I wasn't getting like pushed around or anything, or nobody was like tapping my pipe saying "Good Transformers cosplay." It was really awesome, and also we were outside too, so I could just move around and have some fresh air and not be like confined, basically.
Y'all ever have FOMO? I have FOMO so hard all the time. For anyone who doesn't know, FOMO, fear of missing out. Once again, this is an English language podcast now. Bigger cons, I always feel, because there's so much going on, and don't get me wrong, I love turning because I also find that I turn the corner and find someone I know, but it's like people I don't expect to see. It's not like the friend group I went with. I'm like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in a year. How's life? Okay, bye. We're running off two different ways. But because so much is happening, my FOMO is so intense at big cons where I'm like, well, I could be out eating ice cream with my friends, or I could be at a panel, or I could be in the dealer's room, or I could be playing board game. Like, there's so many things I could do. And there's something nice about small cons, just being able to find some people and be like, hey, we're playing cards at this table over here. Come join us if you want to. And they'll like, you're just gonna chill. And like, yes, there's still things that I have fear of missing out on, but it's not as intense. And that's coming from someone that has intense FOMO, where when I went to Japan, I had FOMO for my friends going to the movies back in Boston. Like, I was in Japan, guys. I shouldn't have FOMO. But here we are.
Yeah, I get. Well, there's a lot more stuff going on at bigger cons for the most part, and then, yeah.
I think an underappreciated thing about cons in general is the panels, and the thing about big cons is that it's infinitely harder to actually attend a panel because one, like I said, there's just so much more going on, and it can be difficult to find them and get yourself there, and then I think with big cons, there's more reasons not to go to a panel than there is. Like, there's a million reasons you can find not to go to a panel, and it's just like, oh, but I would rather do this, or maybe I should just go get food, or like maybe I should just take a break in the hotel room. Like, do I really want to go to this panel? And sometimes it's just hard to pull yourself over there. But with small cons, usually you kind of rely on panels a little bit more for entertainment, and then it's like, oh, this is nice. You can use panels as a time to kind of reset.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
thank you everyone for coming.
For people who don't normally go to panels, like who here has been to a panel at this small con? Trick question, you're at one, so everyone should be raising their hands.
I see what he did there.
Got him. So yeah, but like with this con, C.A.P.E especially, great example of small cons where going to panels is a fantastic time.
Is anyone in the audience hosting a panel tomorrow?
I am.
Woo!
Yeah,
There's one.
Our very own previous guest, Mink the Satyr. I went to a hoodie making panel that was fantastic, might I add.
Bless
So good. So good. It was a lot of fun. And again, it was nice just to sit and not have to worry about being in the fray of the crowd or like trying to deal with other people. Just kind of sitting and just like, okay, I can use this to kind of like rest a little bit while also still being entertained. So,
Yeah.
And at small cons, it's just really easy, like much easier to do actually that, rather than big cons where it's so easy just to keep pushing yourself, and then you either, whenever you find rest, it's like you're just retreating back to your hotel room. That's the only way you get rest at big cons, it seems like. So, at least in my experiences, I have gone to very little cons at big cons and small cons. I've made a much more direct effort to go to panels. So.
I have difficulty like going to that stuff because I don't always. The biggest thing for me when going to a con is the people, my friends. Like I want to see them because we don't get to see each other as much.
Can't snap. I'm sorry. I'm like.
There you go. Yeah, that was terrible. Never mind. But yeah, the biggest reason for me to go to cons is to hang out with my friends and to cosplay. And I would like to go to more panels in the future, but you know. The thing that's in the front of my head for the most part is like, all right, I want to see my friends and have a great time and hang out with them. And yes, you can do that at panels, but a lot of the time, it's like that's not always my top priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also that again, that's more difficult at bigger cons because at bigger cons, like I'm just trying to find people for the most part.
Yeah. It's also really easy. Like sometimes I've also been like in a traveling group of people. Like say we're just wandering the vendor hall, and then all of a sudden you look the wrong way, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Like totally accidental. It happens all the time.
This is an apology to all my friends who have ever been at Anime Boston with me, who see me 1 second and then I'm gone the next. I'm sorry.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
You get lost in the crowd.
That being said, we've talked a lot about the perks of a smaller con. To be fair, there's also perks of a bigger con. I think one of the biggest examples of that is having a really expansive dealer's room / and/or artist alley.
I will say the dealer's room and artist alley here, they have some amazingly talented people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So it's like
absolutely.
same right now.
Small
Like,
but quality stuff.
Yeah.
Very appreciated.
retweet.
I'm very impressed. I kind of want to buy some of that stuff.
Talent never changes no matter the size of the con, really.
Oh, absolutely.
People do awesome stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Good save.
But yeah, obviously, it goes without saying with bigger con, you're going to have bigger dealer's rooms and artist alleys, and that can take up a lot more of your time in a good way. Like you want to utilize that to kind of like fill up some of your weekend, like look at lots of fun stuff. And that's just something that naturally a small con is going to have as much of, but that's okay. And like you said, it doesn't change the
It's just
quality
scale. It's
of
just
it.
scale.
It's just scale. So. I had a great time at Anime NYC, specifically with their vendors, because a lot of their vendors were super passionate, and I had so many conversations with vendors at Anime NYC without even knowing. Like I realized I spent like 3 hours in the artist alley just like talking to random vendors because I complimented something, and then it just ended up randomly going into a conversation, and it was really awesome. It was just so evident how like all the vendors were just super excited to be there, and that's super cool. So I feel like the passion of the vendors can really make up for the quantity of it as well. Even though that was an example with a lot of vendors, but like just goes to say like you can spend time just talking to vendors as well. They are sitting there all day. They would love a conversation here and there, you know. So props to them for doing that, because it's something that every con goer enjoys, but a lot of con goers wouldn't do themselves. So thankless job in a way, even though we thank them by buying stuff, but you know it's a hard job. So yeah.
I should probably talk to people more. How's everyone doing? I can't talk to somebody for 3 hours. Oh my
I guess
God.
another big advantage that bigger cons have is guests. You know, if you're someone who doesn't cosplay as much and you're into like getting stuff signed and like seeing celebrities, big cons is definitely the way to go, because they're the ones that's going to be able to pull in people because they can afford them. You know, best example, Rhode Island Comic Con. I'm not a huge fan of going there for cosplay, but it would be silly to say that it's not enjoyable to go, because like the amount of guests that they have there, like if you're into guests, that's the con to go to. The amount of stuff they just this past week they just announced like the Office guest, which I personally think is amazing. And like they keep announcing guests after guests, like almost daily, like every other day they're announcing a new guest, and like notable people, not just like random people that you've never heard of, like people that you actually want to see, and it makes it very hard when you have a smaller wallet. But yeah, so like Rhode Island Comic Con does an amazing job of getting a cast of guests that you actually want to see, and if that's your jam, like that's the con to go to.
Thanks, Boston Comic Con.
Boston Comic Con did do a fair job. I think Rhode Island Comic Con definitely edges them out, but they definitely have a great effort going into that. Boston Comic Con has more cosplay guests. That's something that Rhode Island Comic Con doesn't have as much. But Boston Comic Con also has more emphasis on cosplay because they have like a cosplay section of their vendor hall, where Rhode Island Comic Con it's not as focused. So to be fair, that's just different views and angles on convention. So. What's your guys' favorite things of like a bigger con over a smaller con?
I like to see the variety of stuff that I can look at and think about buying.
Think
if I had money. Yeah, basically. I like seeing that, and it's also like it's really cool seeing the huge variety of cosplayers, just regular people as well, because regular people see you in cosplay and they're just like, what? That's amazing. You're just like, thank you. I stopped feeling amazing a while ago. Thanks.
Wait, no, that's
I'm sweaty and gross.
Cosplays. Sorry, someone just did this, and that's what I do to my cosplays. I just throw money at them.
Oh yeah.
My favorite thing is like I come back from a big con with like endless motivation. Like I see what people are doing, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
And because like crunching for a big con, at the end of it, I'm like, wow, I never want to cosplay again. Throw a sewing machine out the window. Like wigs are just in a corner, like sad tears on them. But then after I go to a con, I'm like, all these people did this too. Because it's scale. That's the thing. Like you guys all did this. I'm looking at this audience and they're amazing cosplays, and you all suffered and went through all this.
You guys know the pain too.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of nods. But like when I go to a big con, that scale is then just like larger, even so, where I'm like, okay, like you can get in gear and like you can do this, and then I come back and I make like all my cosplays, and then it's a repeating cycle. But it's really cool to see what people do, and I love seeing it, and I love finding that one person at that big con who's cosplaying something very obscure that you don't like think you'll ever see, and then. Yeah, I actually be a costume. But you see that one person, and you're like, oh my god, you're cosplaying this, or someone comes up to you and says you're cosplaying whatever it is, and you're like, my new best friend. Hello.
Hello, is this a new best friend?
It's very satisfying to see someone
tallied the memes for that one yet?
How many times have we done that?
3? Okay. 4? Oh, jeez.
Is it 4? Okay. But yeah, seeing somebody who's doing a more obscure cosplay, and you're just like, I really, really appreciate that. And also, like, when they're walking around, they might look kind of dejected because, a lot of people don't recognize it, but you do, and you're just like, hey, I see you, and I appreciate you. And their face just lights up and just feels good.
That is I know. It is the best. I've had experiences where I will get like 2 photos for like a character that I'll never see. But then one of those people was someone who was like holding back tears because they just wanted to hug. He's like, I can't believe you're here. And I'm just like, okay. It's weird from getting no attention to have someone who's just head over heels for you because you're doing that one obscure character. It's a really good feeling. It's a lot harder to have that in a smaller con setting.
Well, I think it was last year at Anime Boston, I was cosplaying Jean Arc from Ruby, and I got a fair amount of response from it, but then I went and I was cosplaying him, and then someone saw me, and she's like, Jean Arc, and she came up to me and she basically tackled me in a hug, and I'm just like, okay, first off, armor, but second off, thank you, I appreciate it. It's like, it's really cool when somebody sees your cosplay and like you said, it's like, they're just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you're the character. I'm just like, yes, I'm the character, that's exactly who I am, I'm not a real person at all.
Interesting thing that's kind of really not leaning to either side is that more people doesn't necessarily mean more attention. Some cosplays that normally would get a lot of attention at smaller cons, you would think they would just infinitely scale out to a bigger con, but sometimes those cosplays gets lost, and you find that you get actually less attention. It's really interesting how some cosplays really get more attention at smaller con, and some cosplays get more attention at bigger con, but it's not really a clear line. Like there's just it all depend on the con that you're going to versus the other con that you're comparing it to based on
that one
what people are
random
going
person
to.
that shows up and knows you,
Yeah.
Just one
And some cons, like we said, like Boston Comic Con, caters more to cosplayers than like Rhode Island Comic Con. So you might have different like categories of people both in the audience from the city that you're in and both the convention itself and what they're kind of leaning more towards. So sometimes like it really has nothing to do with people, it just has to do with the people that are going, and more people doesn't mean more attention always, So. But yeah, so kind of to cap it off here, there's I've been told not to say this, but here it comes. There's pros and cons to both.
God.
There it is.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys. Thank you so much.
But yeah, no, really, there's good and bad things to both, and really, it's just about finding what experiences you like better. And I think for me, I think we could all agree is that a healthy mix of both is best. You get different things from
Everything
both
is
types.
moderate.
And not too many cons either at one point.
Yeah. Just wait till next episode, where I'm just like,
You're gonna be-
it
Wait,
broke
next
into my
episode
hand.
is just gonna be Will, actually. Spoiler alert.
This is gonna be me just like.
Talking about all 4 cons that
No,
you went to.
no, it's gonna be the opposite. I'm just gonna be so worn out that I can't talk about anything. So.
Wow.
I think it could go either way. I feel like, do we have to do, like, there might be a regrets part 2? Like, I don't know.
There will be regrets part 2 on your part. Don't worry about it.
Real quick, since we have an audience friends, is there, we can't talk about it right now, but is there any quick
So-
topic recommendations that you would
Come
like to
find
see
us
in the future?
after. Come find us after if you have something you want
Yeah,
to chat
we're
about.
totally willing to talk, but
Yeah, do
like
that.
also for future episodes, is there anything that you really want to hear us talk about for the majority of the episode? Anything that we haven't talked about before that you'd like to
Buns.
see?
What do you want?
Puns.
What's
Puns.
next?
I'm in.
You
I'm in.
decide.
Yeah, I'm in. Can we just have an
How
episode
about
of
like
those?
crazy con experiences?
Oh boy.
In case the mic
Like
didn't
horror
pick up.
stories or things
Oh,
like
horror
that.
stories. There we go. That's
Fun
juicier.
Horror stories, they're great.
Making the cosplay beforehand.
Con horror stories. I'm into that. Anything else?
What?
Well, you can come find us.
You can
We're
tell us
around
later.
this convention.
Yeah.
You can message us.
It's a small con. You can find us.
It's great.
It's a small
Wow,
world.
full circle.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, it's like you just find more. I think with smaller cons, also just one quick thing, guys. It's easier to connect with people that you haven't connected with before,
Oh yeah.
and it's really cool. I appreciate connecting with people that we don't know, and these people also appreciate that. So feel free to connect with us afterwards. And thank
Talk
you
to us,
so
please.
much for coming to
Thank
watch
you.
this. Thank you for anyone listening.
Thank you so
after the
much,
fact.
everyone.
Yeah, this has been really fun. So thank you so much, guys.
Video
And good night.